Welcome to your first class. And in this class, we're going to talk about when you're given a term and you're being asked for matter classification. So first, let's go into a lecture about matter classification. So what is matter? Well, based on definition, you can simply understand it as everything that can take space and with a certain mass, and which the matter is what chemistry is all about. Looking for is changing matter, is for looking for the property in matters. It's basically about the study of matter. So let's give a few examples of the things that can take space with mass. So let's say air. So it's light, you can't see it, but it's there. It's taking up space. It's not that dense as a solid, but it's up there. It's taking this whole space and has a certain mass. And more common things, which is common sense, we know. So a soccer ball is a matter. And so what is not a matter, let's say this clock, this watch is a matter, but time is not a matter because time does not take space or neither does it have any mass. So we don't want to go philosophical about this, but just remember everything that has mass and takes space, you can call it a matter. All right. So the question is, are all matters the same? Can we further breaking it down to classify it a little bit more, which is what chemistry really likes about is we like to classify things and we just study them based on their categories. So we can basically classify matters into two subgroups. The first thing is called substances, and these are the matter with a very constant composition, and their property does not change. For example, here, these gold bar, which are made um, from the element gold, they are always composition the same. If you chop off a small piece of it, it's still gold, right? The property will be the same for this small portion of gold compared to a whole gold bar, right? So that's what we call as a substance. So what is a mixture? A mixture will be when you have two different kind of substances and you mix them together, and now you call them a mixture. So for example, a very useful tool that human developed is steel, which is a mixture of iron and carbon, which makes given more extra strength to the original iron, which can break easily. But if you add carbon to it, people find the steel is way much more stronger. And we can further breaking down of these subgroups. So if we want to break down substances, the first thing we can break down into are elements, which are basically the most basic building blocks of everything. So it's like the most basic elements in Minecraft that you build everything, right? You can't further breaking it down. A part is a part. So let's say what human really loves about are minerals, which we mine, right? We mine all kinds of mineral, like the gold, the silver, all kinds of metals, and these things cannot be further broken down. That's it, right? And the second part is a compound, which when you have two or more elements being mixed together. For example, for water, over here, we all know water is H2O. What does it mean? It means each water molecule is made of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. So it's a mixture of the two. It's a compound. Sorry, I want to clarify this. It's not a mixture, it's a compound and belongs to a substance. So what is a mixture? Well, a mixture is when you mix two different kind of substances together. So one kind is called a homogeneous mixture. It means it's uniform. For example, let's take milk. So if I take a drop of milk and I compare it to the whole glass of milk, it will be the same mixture because they're uniform, right? If I just take one part of it out, it will be the same compared to the whole stuff. However, on the contrary, we can have a different kind of mixture called the heterogeneous. So homo means the same, hetero means different. So heterogeneous mixture means they're not the same everywhere. For example, in this kind of, I don't know, maybe if you put some dye into your water, it takes time for them to mix. So if you look now, comparing to the whole stuff over here, if I just take this part out, it will not be the same comparing to the whole glass of water, right? So that's what we call it as a heterogeneous mixture. For for another example, we can have a very muddy water. If we have muddy water, we know the sediments will go to the bottom of the river. Well, the more clear water will on the top. So depending on where you collect your sample, you have a different result. That's what we call a heterogeneous mixture. And now will be some question time. So how would you be test on this? Well, usually you'll be given something and you're being asked to classify it. So let's say, how do you classify hydrogen gas? Is it an element or is it a mixture? Well, for a hydrogen gas is from the most base made from the most basic element, which are hydrogen. So two hydrogen atoms put in together. So it's an element, not a compound, because compound you need two plus elements. It is a substance and not a mixture, but it all belongs to matter. And how do you classify copper? Let's say this copper pot, which is all made of copper, is an element. Yes. Why? Because it's not a compound, which requires two plus elements. It's only made of one element, so it's element, and it's a substance, but not a mixture. But how would you classify a soda? Well, we know soda is mainly water, but you add all kinds of additives to it. So you not only have two or more substances, so it's a mixture. Well, is it a homogeneous mixture or is it a heterogeneous mixture? Well, for each soda, it is a homogeneous mixture because each drop you take out of it, it will be the same compared to the same can of soda, right? And on the same thing, how would you classify sugar? So is it a mixture? Is it made of two or more different substances? No, it's just sugar. Every piece of it is made of sugar molecule, right? So it's a substance, but not a mixture. Well, is it element or is it compounds? For compounds, you need two or two plus elements, and we know that sugar has the formula of C12H22O11, meaning that each sugar molecule contains 12 carbon, 22 hydrogen, and 11 oxygens. So in this sense, it's a compound, but not an element, and it belongs to the substance group. And all of this are called the matter, and chemistry studies matter. So this will be for class, and then I'll see you in the next one.